Gru's transformation. The supervillain mastermind who stole the moon becomes a devoted father in Despicable Me. Gru is introduced as a textbook villain, with an evil lair, elaborate schemes, an ice gun, and a minion army trained for destruction. He plans to steal the moon as his ultimate criminal achievement, which requires acquiring a shrink ray from Vector. To accomplish this heist, Gru adopts 3 orphan girls named Margot, Edith, and Agnes in the 2010 film, using them as pawns in his scheme. The girls' innocence and love begin softening his hardened exterior during simple moments like bedtime stories, roller skating dates, and helping them with homework. Gru realizes that love means being vulnerable, and his protective instinct toward the girls overrides his criminal ambitions. By the film's end, he abandons stealing the moon to become a full-time father. The character, voiced by Steve Carell, helped the film gross approximately $543 million worldwide, spawning sequels where Gru remains a hero. Gru's arc represents the modern comedic redemption story, where a villain's humanity isn't unlocked through punishment, but through genuine emotional connection, demonstrating that even the most self-centered person can change through exposure to unconditional love and innocence. Anakin Skywalker's final choice. The Jedi Knight, corrupted by fear, makes his final redemption in Return of the Jedi, sacrificing himself to save his son. Anakin Skywalker is introduced in the prequels as a gifted Jedi, rejected by the Council due to his age, being considered too old to train, which leads to resentment. Palpatine seduces him to the dark side through fear, specifically through nightmare visions of Padme dying in childbirth, that drive his desperation for power. Anakin becomes Darth Vader in Episode 3 after murdering Jedi younglings, becoming Palpatine's enforcer for more than 20 years. He commits countless atrocities, including destroying the Jedi Order, leading the clone trooper purge, killing separatist leaders, and force-choking his wife, Padme. By Episode 6, Vader appears as an irredeemable villain responsible for countless deaths. Luke Skywalker refuses to kill his father, despite Obi-Wan and Yoda insisting redemption is impossible. During the climactic duel, Palpatine tortures Luke with Force lightning. Vader watches his son suffer. In his final moment, Vader kills Emperor Palpatine to save Luke, though he suffers fatal injuries in the process. He dies as Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader, and reappears as a Force ghost in Jedi robes, an ability only granted to those connected to the light side. Anakin's redemption arc spans the entire saga, making it one of cinema's most ambitious character journeys. His arc challenges the notion that evil is permanent. Even after decades of atrocities, the love between father and son is enough to trigger redemption. Maleficent's curse reversed. Disney's 2014 reimagining transforms the villain from Sleeping Beauty into a misunderstood victim seeking revenge on the man who betrayed her. The original 1959 Sleeping Beauty portrayed Maleficent as pure evil, cursing Aurora out of spite for not receiving a christening invitation. The 2014 live-action film completely recontextualizes her backstory, showing she was a young woman with wings who served as guardian of her fairy forest realm. Stefan, who would become king, initially was her love, but betrays her to advance politically, stealing her wings while she sleeps to present them to the king. Maleficent curses Aurora as revenge against Stefan, not from pettiness, but from genuine betrayal and body violation, as the wing theft parallels assault of a sexual nature. The curse declares that Aurora will fall into a death-like sleep on her 16th birthday, only broken by true love's kiss. 3 fairies soften the curse to deep sleep instead of death, but Maleficent realizes she must reverse it herself. Over 16 years, Maleficent bonds with Aurora while pretending to be a dark fairy, and her maternal love grows genuine. During the film's climax, Maleficent herself provides the true love's kiss, awakening Aurora and redefining true love as maternal rather than romantic. Maleficent becomes Aurora's protector and mentor, while Stefan is revealed as the actual villain, obsessed with power. This represents modern reinterpretation of classic villains, using backstory revelation to transform our understanding and reflecting contemporary storytelling trends, questioning traditional good versus evil dichotomies. Kylo Ren's last-second redemption. The conflicted villain of the sequel trilogy finally turns to the light side, sacrificing his life to save Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. Kylo Ren, whose real name is Ben Solo, is introduced in The Force Awakens as a dark side warrior following Supreme Leader Snoke. He kills his own father, Han Solo, in The Force Awakens, and commits numerous atrocities, including destroying planets and murdering Jedi students. Throughout the trilogy, audiences see his internal conflict, as Kylo is tempted toward the light, but dragged back by darkness and Snoke's manipulation. In The Last Jedi, Kylo kills Snoke to assert independence, but immediately attacks Rey again, reaffirming his dark side commitment. By The Rise of Skywalker, Han Solo appears as a memory, a manifestation of Ben's own mind that speaks to him about returning to the light side. Ben confronts his father's memory and realizes his path is wrong, choosing to help Rey against Palpatine. During the final battle, Ben kills the Knights of Ren and helps destroy Emperor Palpatine. After defeating Palpatine, Ben is mortally wounded and uses the Force to resurrect Rey, a power requiring immense life energy. He dies as Ben Solo, returning to his true identity after kissing Rey, suggesting a romantic element to his redemption. Kylo Ren's redemption directly parallels Darth Vader's, but proves more controversial, because audiences had less time to see his humanity. His arc represents Star Wars' continued belief that redemption through love is always possible, even for mass murderers, though the film's framing suggests redemption isn't about earning it through good deeds, but about choosing it in a final moment. Loki's complex evolution. From alien invader to god of mischief to genuine hero, Tom Hiddleston's Loki undergoes the MCU's longest redemption arc. Loki is introduced in Thor in 2011, attempting to take the Asgardian throne from his brother Thor, which results in his imprisonment in Asgard. He escapes to Earth in The Avengers in 2012 with an alien Chitauri army to conquer the planet, killing more than 80 people in 2 days during the New York invasion. Defeated by the Avengers, he's imprisoned again and briefly allies with Thor against the Dark Elves in Thor: The Dark World in 2013. In Ragnarok in 2017, he appears to accept his true nature as a frost giant adopted by Odin and allies with Thor against Hela. Thanos captures him during Thor's ship escape, and Loki attempts to assassinate Thanos, only to be killed by Thanos in a brutal neck snap. In the Loki series in 2021, an alternate timeline Loki is arrested by the Time Variance Authority and forced to confront his crimes and true self. TVA scenes show Loki viewing his own timeline, recognizing his pattern of seeking power over connection, and beginning genuine character introspection. Throughout the series, Loki shifts from a self-serving villain to someone willing to sacrifice freedom to protect the multiverse. The final season shows Loki deliberately destroying the temporal loom, a mechanism controlling all timelines, and taking the role as keeper of time. He chooses responsibility and self-sacrifice over personal freedom, the antithesis of his original character motivation. Loki represents how redemption isn't linear or permanent, as he cycles between villain and hero, but genuinely evolves through forced self-reflection. His character development spans more than 10 MCU projects, making it the longest redemption arc in the franchise. Megamind's accidental heroism. A supervillain must become a hero when his successor proves far more dangerous than he ever was. Megamind is introduced as Metrocity's supervillain, perpetually fighting superhero Metro Man. After finally defeating Metro Man, believing he killed him, Megamind achieves his dream. The city now has no hero. He discovers that crime without opposition bores him and decides to create a new hero named Hal to fight. Hal transforms into the villain Titan, proving far more destructive and indiscriminate than Megamind ever was. Megamind realizes he preferred being a villain, opposing a hero, to allowing true chaos, and becomes a hero to stop Hal. His unintentional redemption is forced by circumstance, and he discovers he enjoys protecting rather than destroying. Megamind's arc is unique because he doesn't undergo internal moral awakening, but simply discovers that villainy, without opposition, is pointless. His redemption is almost pragmatic rather than emotional, showing that some people become heroes through circumstance rather than choice. The T-800's programming override, a killing machine sent to destroy humanity, becomes humanity's protector in Terminator 2: Judgment Day. The T-800, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first Terminator in 1984, is a relentless assassin hunting Sarah Connor to prevent a future rebellion. In Terminator 2 in 1991, an alternate timeline sends a different T-800 back to protect young John Connor. This T-800 begins by killing civilians, thieves, and police officers to complete his mission. Gradual exposure to John Connor's humanity and teaching about the value of life begins reprogramming his mission parameters. The T-800 learns concepts like mercy, sacrifice, and protection of innocence, realizing that murdering unnecessarily contradicts his primary mission to protect John. In the climax, the T-800 sacrifices himself by diving into molten metal, recognizing this is the correct choice. His redemption is notable for occurring through a relationship with a child, similar to Gru, but more tragic. T-800's arc proves redemption isn't just for humans, as even artificial beings can develop a conscience. His willingness to sacrifice shows that understanding the value of life transforms even programmed killers. Boromir's final stand. The warrior of Gondor falls to the ring's corruption, but finds redemption through sacrifice in the Fellowship of the Ring. Boromir is introduced as a proud warrior and son of Denethor, steward of Gondor. He's obsessed with the power of the ring as a potential weapon to save his besieged homeland, believing it's a necessary tool for warfare. Tempted by the ring's influence, Boromir attempts to take it from Frodo and fails when Frodo flees, but he accomplishes partial corruption of himself. He realizes his failure and feels genuine remorse, then immediately encounters Uruk-hai attacking the Fellowship. In his moment of redemption, Boromir chooses to defend the hobbits Merry and Pippin against overwhelming force, despite knowing he'll likely die. He dies pierced by many arrows, but having saved the hobbits, and his last act is pure heroism. He confesses to Aragorn that he tried to take the ring from Frodo and that he's sorry, saying he has failed. Aragorn responds that Boromir has conquered and that few have gained such a victory, telling him to be at peace. Boromir's redemption lies not in undoing his failure, but in sacrificing himself to protect those his corruption endangered. Boromir represents redemption through immediate action rather than extended character development. His arc shows that a single heroic act can define someone's legacy more powerfully than their failures. Severus Snape's hidden loyalty. Harry Potter's most hated teacher is revealed to be a double agent who sacrificed everything for love and the greater good. Snape appears to be a villain throughout the series, hostile to students, partial to Slytherins, favoring the dark arts, and working with Voldemort. Students and readers believe Snape is a Death Eater villain, seeking to protect Voldemort and corrupt Hogwarts. In Prisoner of Azkaban, it's revealed he was bullied by Harry's father, James Potter, and that he fell in love with Harry's mother, Lily Evans. Snape became a Death Eater under Voldemort, but defected when Voldemort targeted Lily Potter for assassination. Dumbledore recruited him as a double agent, and Snape spied on Voldemort for the Order of the Phoenix throughout the series. Snape's hostility to Harry stems from Harry's resemblance to James, his tormentor, combined with complicated feelings toward Lily's son. Throughout the series, Snape protects Harry constantly, while maintaining his villain facade, defending him from Quirrell and Sirius, among others. In Half-Blood Prince, Snape kills Dumbledore, which appears villainous, but actually fulfills Dumbledore's dying wish. Dumbledore was already dying from a curse, and Snape's action was an act of mercy, as well as fulfilling his trusted role. Voldemort kills Snape by snakebite in the final battle, and with his dying breath, Snape gives Harry memories, revealing his true loyalty. The memories show that Snape loved Lily for decades, became a spy to protect her even after she married James, and served Dumbledore faithfully. Harry realizes Snape was the greatest hero of the series, having sacrificed comfort, reputation, and life for others. Snape represents the most complex redemption arc in modern cinema. Someone who appears villainous throughout, but was actually heroic all along. His arc doesn't involve changing, but revelation, as the audience's perception transforms rather than the character's actions. By the way, if you're into content like this, I create videos like this all the time. Subscribing would be awesome. Captain Barbossa's opportunistic redemption. The pirate who cursed himself evolves from Jack Sparrow's enemy into a reluctant ally across the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Barbossa is introduced in Curse of the Black Pearl in 2003 as the cursed undead captain of the Black Pearl. He was previously Jack Sparrow's first mate who mutinied, marooning Jack and stealing his ship. Under an Aztec curse, Barbossa cannot die, but also cannot taste food or feel physical sensations, becoming obsessed with reversing the curse. He orchestrates the entire plot of the first film to break the curse, and is defeated by Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann. Tia Dalma resurrects him, and he returns as an anti-hero in Dead Man's Chest in 2006 and At World's End in 2007. By At World's End, he becomes an unlikely ally to Jack and the Pirate Lords against Davy Jones and the British Navy. He transitions from a villain seeking personal benefit to a pragmatic ally sharing common goals. In later films, he becomes a pirate lord and entrepreneur, neither fully good nor fully evil, but consistently self-interested. His relationship with Jack evolves from enemies to mutual respect, despite continuing attempts to betray each other. Barbossa's redemption is incomplete and opportunistic, as he helps heroes when it serves his interests, making him an anti-hero rather than a true hero. Geoffrey Rush's performance makes audiences root for the character, despite his lack of moral center. Barbossa represents incomplete redemption, showing that redemption doesn't always mean becoming good, but sometimes means becoming useful and occasionally protective. Gamora's escape from Thanos. Trained as a living weapon for a tyrant, Gamora becomes the deadliest woman in the galaxy in service of good. Gamora is introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014 as a cybernetically enhanced assassin serving Thanos for 20 years. Thanos murdered half of Gamora's species and her mother, then raised her as his adoptive daughter with cybernetic augmentations. She's forced to fight her adoptive sister Nebula repeatedly, with Gamora always victorious, creating resentment and hierarchy. Thanos treats Gamora as his favorite daughter, but through violence, coercion, and control rather than love. Gamora defects during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, when she realizes Ronan's mission will result in mass casualties. She betrays Thanos and Ronan, attempting to sell the orb containing the Power Stone instead of allowing its use as a weapon. Imprisoned alongside Star-Lord, Rocket, and Groot, the four escape together and form an unlikely family unit. She transitions from an assassin serving a tyrant to a hero protecting innocent lives. Her relationship with Star-Lord provides an emotional anchor, and she learns to trust and love rather than obey. By Infinity War, she's prepared to sacrifice herself to prevent Thanos from obtaining the Soul Stone. By Endgame and Guardians Volume 3, she's fully integrated as a hero and family member. Gamora represents redemption from systematic abuse and indoctrination. She doesn't just choose good, but learns what good means after 20 years of serving evil. Prince Zuko's journey to honor. The exiled Fire Prince spends 3 seasons hunting the Avatar before realizing his true honor lies in opposing his father. Zuko is introduced in Avatar: The Last Airbender as a banished prince obsessed with capturing the Avatar to restore his honor. He's dishonored by his father, Fire Lord Ozai, for speaking out of turn in a war council, and exiled until he captures the Avatar. Zuko searches for the Avatar across the world for years alongside his uncle Iroh, becoming increasingly desperate and obsessed. His initial motivation is believing that capturing the Avatar will earn his father's love and allow him to return home. Throughout the series, Uncle Iroh questions Zuko's definition of honor, suggesting true honor comes from within, not external approval. At the series' midpoint, Zuko encounters Avatar Aang and develops respect for him, becoming tempted toward good. However, loyalty to his father and desire for approval overcome this temptation, and Zuko betrays the Avatar to side with his sister Azula. The consequences are severe, as Uncle Iroh is imprisoned for treason after choosing to help the Avatar, and both Zuko and Iroh are branded as traitors. At rock bottom, Zuko visits imprisoned Iroh, hoping for approval, but Iroh turns away and gives him the silent treatment, a rejection that cuts deeper than any words. This silent rejection forces complete psychological reorientation, and Zuko realizes he sacrificed his father figure for a biological father who only used him. Zuko makes the courageous decision to defect to the Avatar's side, confessing his crimes and offering himself for punishment. Team Avatar initially rejects him, but over time he proves genuine through consistent heroic choices and sacrifice. In the final arc, Zuko confronts and defeats his sister Azula, and becomes Fire Lord dedicated to rebuilding the world rather than conquering it. Zuko's arc is widely considered one of the greatest redemption arcs in television history. His transformation isn't about becoming good, but discovering what honor truly means, demonstrating that redemption requires confronting painful truths about people you love and choosing principles over family loyalty. If you found this worthwhile, subscribe so you never miss future content. Thanks for watching.